Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 3 of season 4 of the F1 2020 My Team career mode, where today we're here back for the Vietnamese Grand Prix. Now obviously if you guys did miss out on the last video that went live yesterday, or not yesterday even, it was Sunday, the last video went live on Monday. It went live recently at some point, I can't quite remember. Definitely obviously go back and check that one out obviously if you did miss it. It was another brilliant race from the Bahrain Grand Prix in Capure. And yeah, heading into Vietnam this weekend though, the championship fight is really heating up already. We're only 2 rounds in, but it's looking exciting at the moment. Obviously, if you don't want any spoilers, click away now. Obviously, if you're new around here as well, get yourself subscribed. We're trying to hit 14,000 subscribers at the moment, so if you could help me get one step closer to that, that would be greatly appreciated as well. But yeah, in terms then of the Drivers' World Championship, we're tied with George Russell at the top after the opening 2 races. Consistency has been our key strength so far this season. There you can see then we've got Daniel Ricciardo, Hamilton and Albon just 8 or 9 points back, as while they're in the Constructors' Championship is just as close there. The top 3 in the Constructors separated by 9 points. The top 5 in the Drivers separated by just 9 points as well there. But yeah, heading into Vietnam though, hopefully a track that suits our car. Let's dive in then to qualifying. So here we are then, ready for qualifying for the Vietnamese Grand Prix. It always feels quite fun coming back to this circuit. It really is still one of the only tracks on the F1 games I find a major challenge still, just with the sheer nature of the speed and the barriers here. But hopefully we can get a good lap nailed up. We're in Q2 obviously as always. We've gone out on a set of medium tyres. It's going to be close if we can make it through into Q3. That is not certainly the way to get through the second corner of the lap. But yeah, we're just going to see if it's going to be possible here. If not, then obviously we'll go back out on a set of the soft compound rubber as well. But yeah, the pace is feeling a little bit iffy this weekend. I've just struggled to get reused to this track again. Don't know what it is, just seem to be struggling to try and get the pace out of the car as we head through the roundabout. Try and get the power out onto the back straightaway. But you can see, yeah, Hamilton set fastest so far in Q2. We should be aiming, I think, for a 33 on these compounded tyres, unless, of course, Hamilton, I think he might have actually bottled his lap. We might be aiming for a 32 on these tyres there as well. But yeah, we're quick in some parts, but really struggling through the twisty bits, obviously, where we've got nowhere near the same sort of aero that we've had in recent seasons. Yeah, really just sort of struggling to work out where we can get the car slowed down. That is a prime example of it. Just running a bit too optimistic into the corners. That's given us front wing damage, and that lap is basically going to be over as we head through the S's. The final corner then, it hasn't actually cost us too much time, but a 33.6 is definitely not going to be good enough for Q2. Q3 even. Heading back out at the end of Q2, we've got about 40 seconds on the clock as we head through the penultimate corner. We're down in P14. This has now effectively become a 1-lap sprint to try and get through into the third qualifying session. Obviously, we should have a lot more grip on the soft compounded tyres as we head in towards the first corner there, and instantly you can see we're a couple of tenths up as we head through the first turn. Try and keep it between the white lines. Don't want the FIA having any issues with us as we head out on towards the first of the straightaways there. Already half a second up as we head out of the first sector there, and we should be green as well. But yeah, we should hopefully now, as long as we don't make any mistakes like that, we should be good into Q3. We just need to be quick but careful on this lap. We have lost a couple of tenths actually through the roundabout section there. We took a lot more curb on the first attempt, but we're still about 3 tenths up as we head down this massive long straight, if you will, obviously with a huge kink in the middle of it. They're pretty much slamming the anchors just after the 100-metre board, down in towards this 40-mile-an-hour hairpin, then short shift on the way back out. Want to avoid the wheel spin as best as possible. You can see we're another few tenths up. Sector 3 though should be where we make up most of the time as we ride the curbs through there. Watch that delta rise as we head through this final sector. Almost getting a bit squirrely as we drop one of the wheels onto the curbing there, but through the final couple of corners to finish off our Q2 run. That's a good chunk of curb through the third last turn there. Try and get it slowed down. That corner's always horrible. We've walloped the wall again. but we're almost 2 seconds up. Through the final corner we go. It's going to be a 1:31.9. That should be good enough for Q3, but still not happy. The fact that we've walloped the walls on both of our runs there. We really do need to try and get this dialed in. Ready for the third and final session there. You can see Hamilton in 11th. Hamilton, our teammate, is out of Q2 for the Vietnamese Grand Prix there. So that's just Bahrain, where we've been able to get both cars into Q3 there. But yeah, myself and Albon both getting through, but our teammates of Hamilton and Ricciardo out in Q2, both Alpha Tauris and both McLarens make it into the final session there. But Mercedes look quick. Maybe, just maybe, we can split them on the front row there. But yeah, that is dramatic scenes. Verstappen barely made it through as well. And then there's a 7/10 gap back down to Sergio Perez there. So a rather weird and mixed up grid from Q2 there. But that could have dramatic race complications for the team there. Let's dive into Q3 though. Let's see if we can get a lap hooked up. Here we go then, heading out into Q3 then for this Vietnamese Grand Prix qualifying session. We're going to really need to try and get one of these laps hooked up here if we want to try and get up towards the front. Mercedes are looking phenomenal this weekend in their cars there, and without Hamilton as well, we haven't really got much of a reference as to what our car should be hitting in Q3 there. But yeah, another dramatic Q2 qualifying session in this season there. It's nice to see, you know, a bit more of a shake-up on the grid, because even if we found out that, for example, last season, if George messed up a lap, he'd still end up normally P2, maybe P3 at the very worst. But we got through the first sector nice and tidy. Let's see if we can get a much tidier run through the roundabout section, taking a lot more curb on the entry, running right to the outside wall on the exit, and then short shift back up as we head out onto the back straightaway. Coming through the final couple of corners then to finish off our first run in Q3. Has felt tiny, but certainly hasn't set the world alight. It's going to be a 31.4 though. That's good enough for a provisional pole position. Wasn't quite expecting that. But George Russell, again, was another, what, 3/10 quicker in Q2. So I can't imagine this is over just yet. Coming in towards the final couple of corners then to finish, or to start even, I should say, my final qualifying lap. Most of the cars around us are coming to the end of theirs as we get a huge chunk of wheel spin before we get even into the final corner there. George Russell, he might be starting his final flying lap of the session. I'm not too sure if that's him or Bottas that is just in front of us as we head down in towards the first turn there. Albon manages to shoot himself up into P2, but we've already lost a lot of time through the first couple of corners, and that's going to be the lap already over and done with then. Leclerc's going to fly past us. We don't want to block anyone. Now the moment of truth then. What on earth is Leclerc doing?
Be a fantastic race.
So there we go then, qualifying done and dusted here in Vietnam. And yeah, rather mixed up grid in the end there. Mercedes completely dropping the ball in Q3. We were able to get pole position there by 0.3 of a second over Alexander Albon. So a completely fresh front row faces for the start of the Vietnamese Grand Prix. Then Mercedes row 2 ahead of Lando Kvyat, Charles Leclerc, Pierre Gasly, Verstappen and Carlos Sainz there. And yeah, Ferrari really do seem to be a top midfield team rather than a front runner at the moment. There is Alpha Tauri and McLaren seem to have good pace this weekend. Let's dive in then here for the Vietnamese Grand Prix.
The Formula One circus has arrived in Southeast Asia once more as we usher in a new era and get ready to go racing here in Vietnam. A lap of Hanoi circuit then, 3.4 miles around the Vietnamese capital. A number of the 23 corners take their inspiration from other great circuits, hopefully creating plenty of passing opportunities. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position and Alexander Albon lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid we have Russell, Bottas, Lando Norris and Kvyat, Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz and Lewis Hamilton, Ricciardo, Perez, Esteban Ocon and Stroll, King, Raikkonen, Nobuharu Matsushita and Pierre Gasly. They've taken a grid penalty. Magnussen, Giovinazzi, Latifi and Nick de Vries. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
after the points finish last race. Let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So here we are then on the grid, ready for round 3 of Season 4 from Vietnam. The strategy is looking like a fairly simple one-stop softs to hards, but the hard tyres, I'll be honest, from qualifying and practice, yeah, they didn't feel all too great around this circuit, so we'll wait and see as to how we feel about that. Obviously, we're going to underfuel the car by about, yeah, just under 2 laps under as well there. But I think, yeah, we're going to look at probably doing a 2-stop here, in all honesty then. We're going to go softs, mediums, softs. Hopefully that'll make the difference at the end of the Grand Prix. There you can see that was what the other strat the team was recommending as well. But yeah, our first pole position of the year. Rather surprised, actually, that we were able to get it. I really wasn't expecting it heading into this Grand Prix, but hopefully we can keep it clean and tidy on the road down towards the first corner. The 5 red lights are coming on now then. It is 5 red lights and it's lights out and away we go for the Vietnamese Grand Prix. They're actually off to a good start for the most part until we got up towards the top end, and then Albon and everyone else is going to fly down the inside there as we try to get the room around the outside of the Mercedes. We do just about hold that as Bottas actually makes the move done on Russell as well there, but Albon leads the way as we head out of the first couple of corners. They're a fantastic start by the Thai driver, and look at that, Bottas has got an absolute run on myself as we head down in toward the roundabout section for the first time in this Grand Prix. Try and hook it up round the outside, all a little bit close for comfort there between Bottas and I, but we do once again hold on to P2 of the Grand Prix there. Try to get the power down, use some overtake as we head out onto the back straightaway. But yeah, Albon, 2 seconds up the road already as we head down this back straight. Luckily, the raw engine power is going to give us enough to defend from Valtteri Bottas as we head down in towards the final sector of the lap, but breaking down into the hairpin all nice and tidily on this opening lap. Hasn't been too dramatic in the end, but Albon there, an absolute worldie as we get some yellow flags out behind. I'm guessing that's just some Constantina and up as well there. But yeah, anyway, we've survived, by the looks of it, most of the first lap. We've still got to navigate our way through the S's here. So easy just to unlock the front wing. Just get a little bit of damage, and then you are going to be going backwards throughout the rest of your stint there. But yeah, Albon, though, as we head through the final couple of corners, looking quick this weekend. If I'm not mistaken, he's never won a Grand Prix in this series. Could today be that day? Towards the end of lap 2, then, you can see we set a new fast lap of the Grand Prix, only a fraction quicker than Alexander Albon here. But I'm just trying to think. I genuinely don't believe Red Bull have ever won a race in this series. If they did, it must have been fairly early on in Season 1, because obviously Season 2 they didn't have a car capable. Season 3, obviously, we pretty much won every single Grand Prix as a team there. So yeah, I genuinely don't think Red Bull have won a race this series. Do they finally now have the pace? The other thing I'm a little bit worried about early on in this Grand Prix actually is the fuel. We don't seem to be saving very much after the opening couple of laps. We are obviously going to have to focus on that a little bit more this weekend than we normally need to, as well as we're just making a few little mistakes as it's just allowing Albon a bit more of a chance to break away here. Really feel like there's not much front end on the car at the moment. We might have to up the front wing a little bit more as we head in towards the second stint of the Grand Prix. But yeah, really just struggling to get it to bite in the way I want it to there. As Bottas has got a good run on us, he might be able to fly past us as we head down in towards Sector 3. We're pretty even on the brakes.
It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
And Hamilton, supposedly over the radio, has got issues with his car as well there, so that's not what we need as a team at the moment there. Hamilton already 2 durability and reliability issues going on in the first opening 3 races of the season there. He must be not too happy with the team at the moment, so clearly we're going to have to buy some more durability upgrades. As Bottas now passed us, let's see if we can stick with him. Heading out onto the back straight once again then. I think I found the culprit as to why we're struggling so much. We have actually picked up a little bit of front wing damage here, and it's definitely costing us in the early stages of this race. However, we've got a mega run around the outside of Valtteri Bottas, topping out at 220 miles an hour there before we pulled out of the slipstream. And we move back past the Mercedes, though a lot of wheel spin on the exit, but still, we're just trying to hang on in there at the moment. Lap 6 then, Bottas is probably going to try and line up another move on us as we head down in towards the hairpin once again. We've just been playing switcheroo over the last couple of laps, but no, clearly Bottas doesn't think he's close enough to go for anything this time round. We, though, are going to have to pit the end of this lap. I just feel like we may as well pit a little bit early, hopefully get the front wing changed as well, go on to a set of mediums, and really just try and absolutely fling them around the track for a few laps and negate some of the disadvantage that we will have had from the front wing change there as we dink the wing even more. Yeah, that just goes and solidifies the plan that I had in mind there. The team recommended a new strat as well. We're not even going to look at that. We're just going to get the car into the pits, make sure we get it slowed down. And yeah, into the pit lane we come then, here for the first time in this Vietnamese Grand Prix. It's been a tough opening few laps for Albon though, looking very, very quick in the early stages of this race there. Everyone else still out on the circuit. I'm hoping we come out in the gap between the Haas and the Williams. Look how far back Williams are already from the rest of the field there. That is appalling by the Williams team there. But anyway, getting the front wing change sorted out then, we should be out, I think, actually fairly close to the back of the Haas cars there. A 6.9 second stop, not bad going by the team. But yeah, heading back out then of the pit lane here. Always a bit of a weird pit lane to try and get used to. Dipping a wheel on the grass, but we come back out. We got a good few seconds to the next cars up the road. Of lap 7, now pretty much a quarter race distance here from the Vietnamese Grand Prix. One of the Mercedes has dived into the pits. Who is that? It is George Russell, our main championship rival by the looks of it. Are we going to be out ahead of the Mercedes man? There he flies out of the pit lane. No, George Russell there just gets ahead of Nick de Vries and then is stuck behind Kimi Räikkönen just a couple of seconds up the road. Ooh, that was close. Close is the word we're going to use to describe that moment there. But yeah, George Russell then, that is critical that he stayed ahead of us there, and we've changed the front wing. He gets up the inside of Kimi Räikkönen as well here, and now we've got no time to be sat around behind these cars. Up the inside of K-Mag there as we head out onto the back straight. Hopefully now we get a bit of a slingshot run on the Renault and the Haas car as well. As yeah, you can see Magnussen just tries to stick with us as we deploy the DRS there. Everyone's going to be gaining in on each other. Should we be close enough to Nick de Vries to go for a move? It's going to have to be a big dive bomb in towards the hairpin, but with a tiny double lockup at the last second. That's both Haas cars navigated in the space of about half a minute there. Exactly what we needed. Now, can we try and get past Räikkönen as we head in towards the final few corners of the lap? We're either going to have to get round him before the S's, or nope, we're going to have to sit behind him as we head through here. There really is never delivered for Renault. Has Kimi Räikkönen probably does need to retire at this point as we try to have a look around the outside in towards the final couple of corners. That is a perfect little overtake, if I do say so myself. Lewis is into the pits. We've got a lot of cars into the pit lane, including former race leader Alex Albon here. So where is he going to come back out in this Grand Prix? He's already heading back out of the pit lane, so that's been fantastic by him as we get caught up on the team radio there, clicking the wrong buttons. But now we're all over the back of George Russell, and this is where things get a little bit crazy as everyone just tries to work their way through the slower traffic there. George getting a bit of a wobble on as we head out onto the first of the back straightaways. Can we get a bit of a run on George Russell? We might be able to go for a bit of a dive. Don't have a look at the inside of Matsushita as well. Don't get greedy. A very, very aggressive move, though, on our main title rival, but we have pulled it off. Now, can we get a run on Matsushita? This is just overtakes galore at the moment. There is already George Russell seems to have dropped back out of the DRS here. We're using everything the car's got once again here. Hopefully the top end speed can carry us. Jordan King's having a look past Gasly as we head in towards the final corners of Sector 2. Up the inside and more cars. It's a brave, bold move, and we pulled it off. And somehow out of all of this, we're back up into P9 of the Grand Prix. In towards the final couple of corners then, all over the back of Jordan King as well here. We got the last few guys into the pits, so we should be back up into about net P3 in this Grand Prix. We're going to be out in about P5, if I'm not mistaken. Jordan King, former teammate, goes defensive on us. In towards the first corner. We should be able to get around the outside, though, of the Alfa Romeo, and that's exactly what we've done. Back up into fourth. Only now got to get round Perez, who's probably going to pit the end of this one. Heading back out onto the back straight, Sergio Perez up into P3 for just a few moments in this Grand Prix there. Racing Point, again, they showed so much potential in winter testing as Perez almost tries to put me in a wall. but they just don't seem to have the pace in the early stages of the season still. They can't seem to get it all together as we run deep. Hopefully we should be able to out-traction Perez nonetheless, though. Back up into P3, Bottas, 3 seconds up the road. Albon, nearly 10 seconds clear now, but he is on a different strat by the looks of it. Coming up towards the halfway stage then of this Grand Prix, we have been taking a little bit of time out of Bottas over these last couple of laps, but Albon is just further extending his lead at the front of this Grand Prix. Could we see our third different winner in 3 Grand Prix at the start of the season here? So far, it's looking possible. Obviously, Red Bull just missed out last time out in Bahrain. They were 1 lap away from getting their first race victory, I think, like I said, in this entire series. But could today be a bit different? Oh, Bottas! Bottas has just completely binned it in front of me. What was that? From the Mercedes, man. It's gifted as P2 in this Grand Prix, but a massive bottle job by Valtteri Bottas there. Just coming through the first couple of corners. Yeah, he just got loose over the curbing. Couldn't correct it and just put it straight into the wall in this Grand Prix. I don't think I've ever seen the AI do that on an F1 game, or at least it has been a very, very long time since I've ever seen them do that there. But what a weird mistake from Valtteri Bottas there as we reach the halfway stage of this Grand Prix. He's probably going to have to pit in now and go onto a fresh set of tyres there. But at the moment, I'm more worried about the fuel. We're about halfway through this Grand Prix and we haven't recovered half the fuel yet. Could, for the first time, we have a real issue with that this series. Here we go, end of lap 16. Alex Albon has now dived in for his hopefully last pit stop of the Grand Prix here. Our pace, though, these mediums, seems to just be getting better and better at the moment as we head out of the final corner. Almost a new PB in this Grand Prix there. But yeah, we now re-inherit the lead of this race. I don't know where Albon is going to come back out. He might actually come back out just in P2 ahead of our title rival George Russell at the moment. I like the fact I keep calling George Russell our title rival. Who knows who our title rival will be by the end of the season there. But yeah, Albon comes back out then right behind George. Obviously 2 former F2 rivals battling it out once again towards the front of a Formula 1 Grand Prix. Funny how time works. Going on to lap 19 then, we're going to pit in the end of this one and hopefully try and drag the softs to the end of the Grand Prix here. But Albon has already taken out a lot of time from me in the opening couple of laps of his stint. Obviously, he's on much fresher rubber than myself. Daniel Ricciardo was, for a moment, on the podium in this Grand Prix, but he's going to drop back down the order. Now he's into the pits for his final stop, but everything is just starting to fall into place at the end of the Grand Prix. I think we should come back out in P2 here, but yeah, should have been a good battle with Bottas actually for P2, but obviously after he bottled it, Verstappen looks like he could be able to get the last podium place here. Coming through the final couple of corners then, it's always nice that you can open up that corner a whole lot more, because you know you don't have to get through the next turn there. Almost sped into the pit lane, but yeah, 8 laps to go then of this Grand Prix. Albon should comfortably out ahead in the lead of this race. I better not have left the front wing on change. Oh, please don't change the front wing. We haven't dinked it at any point that I'm aware of. Otherwise, if we have, maybe actually getting it changed wouldn't be so bad after all. And is that a front wing? Oh my god, they're changing the front wing. Has that just bottled us a potential shot at the race victory here? It's been such an up and down Grand Prix here today. 8.1 second stop as well. We should still be out in P2 here. But yeah, I don't think I damaged the front wing at any point. There goes Verstappen and the Mercs down in towards the first corner. But yeah, we do come out only just ahead of them as we run a little bit wide over the white paint through the first couple of corners. But Albon, now 16 seconds up the road in this Grand Prix. We might just try and bag the fastest lap away from him. But I think Albon, unless something goes catastrophically wrong right in the dying stages, he's done everything right so far today. And boy, does he deserve it. Oh, Hamilton, new fast lap of the Grand Prix, a 34.8, as he slowly tries to make his way back up through the field. Bottas as well behind has moved himself back up into P3, but we are on a flyer. There we go, a 1:33.4. That should comfortably get us fastest lap in the Grand Prix.
to risk a DNF chasing records, so think about going down to mix 1 and lifting early into the corners.
So the team's still obviously very, very worried about the fuel. I will just check it as we head out onto this straight. Yeah, we're still a little way under at the moment. They're about 0.3 laps worth, so we are recovering it. I think we should just about be good by the end, but now we've got that one lap in. Let's just try and get this thing to the checkered flag. We have taken a good 5 seconds out of Albon though already, so maybe, just maybe, this battle isn't over just yet. Just under 4 laps to go then of this Grand Prix. And yeah, this really isn't over just yet. Between myself and Alex Albon, we're trying to set qualifying style laps between now and the checkered flag just to see if we get any sort of opportunity. And Albon is just trying to get that Red Bull to the finish line here. We're really just trying to attack the curbs where we can. We're taking just over a second a lap out of him. So once again, it looks like we could have a last lap battle on our hands here, but we need to concentrate, we need to be quick, we need to use all the ERS as well, we can't afford to waste any of that. We're pretty much even on the fuel, so we shouldn't need to worry about that between now and the flag. 3 laps to go then, the gap down to 3.5 seconds here. That's about another 1.2 on that last lap. This is going to be incredibly close by the checkered flag, but we have to maintain the pace. 2 laps to go then as we almost wallop the wall out of the final corner. The gap, 2.5 seconds. This is going to go down to the wire, but are we going to have enough time to get round him? Oh, we got yellow flags out in Sector 3. One of the Alfa Romeos appears to be going slowly. I don't think that's going to change anything between now and the end of this race. I think that might have been Jordan King out of the Grand Prix. No chance of a safety car, obviously, with 1 lap to go here around this Grand Prix. But yeah, Jordan King out here in Vietnam. Coming on then to the final lap here from Vietnam. Albon has still got about a 2-second margin as we head onto the final lap of this Grand Prix there. The tyres just starting to struggle as we head onto the final out of this Vietnamese Grand Prix circuit. Try and get the car rotated through, really trying to open up the track width, ride the curbing. Maybe just a little bit more than ride the curbs as we head out of Sector 1 there. But yeah, Albon's still 2 seconds in front of us here. Are we finally going to see it? Red Bull, they've had such an up and down time in this series. They never quite had the pace to win up until now. They were so close last time out in Bahrain, 1 lap away from Daniel Ricciardo getting his first victory in about 6 years, or 5 years, sorry, in Formula 1. But this could be even more memorable for young Alexander Albon here. Obviously, in this universe, Red Bull, haven't won since Brazil 2019, before this series even began. But in towards the final sector, I don't think there's going to be any opportunities for us. There's way too much wheel spin as we head down in towards Sector 3 for the final time in this Grand Prix. There is a Williams just up in front. Not too sure who it is. Hopefully they don't cost him anything as well there. But in towards the final few corners then of the Vietnamese Grand Prix. We're going to see as many teams in 3 races this season win Grand Prix as we saw in Season 3 there. It has been absolutely insane, the early stage of the season. Alex Albon, through the final corner, is officially a Formula 1 Grand Prix winner. And we just couldn't get close enough.
Well done, good finish. You stepped up and achieved what we asked. Good job.
Here we are then, a fantastic Vietnam Grand Prix, and what a performance it was from our race winners today. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. And now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. Mr. Monaco takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Daniel Ricciardo certainly impressed me today, an incredible performance.
Let's move on to the constructors. The owner drivers team moved to the top of the table. Another team that will be satisfied with this Grand Prix is Alfa Romeo, whose good result moves them further up the championship. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, guys. Red Bull are officially back here in F1 2020. They're a fantastic race done by Alexander Albon and the whole team there. You know, he got the jump on me at the start, and honestly, I wasn't really worried about Albon after qualifying. I was amazed the Mercedes dropped the ball so much. But, I mean, you look at Albon at the end of the Grand Prix there. He didn't get fastest lap, but he led pretty much from start to flag in that Grand Prix there. A fantastic job done by the Red Bull driver. Like I said, Red Bull there, their first win, if I'm not mistaken, since Brazil 2019. It has been a long time coming for the Austrian-based team there. But yeah, Red Bull race winners once again there. They really look to be bringing the fight to Mercedes and ourselves over the course of this season there. We pushed Albon hard, but didn't quite have the pace at the end there. The tyres just went off with just too long left in the Grand Prix there. George Russell does still come home P3 ahead of Bottas, Ricciardo, Hamilton there, and both Ferraris 7th and 8th in the end there. Verstappen was on for a podium in that Grand Prix, but I think, yeah, he actually one-stopped it and didn't quite make it work at the end of the day there. Sergio Perez 9th ahead of Carlos Sainz in 10th there. I'm sure Lando a bit gutted to come away with nothing there after qualifying in P5 there. And you can see the rest of the order. No major surprises looking at it. Just Raikkonen once again. Another disappointing showing there. Down in 17th there. Behind Nobuharu Matsushita. And he would have been behind Jordan King had he made it to the checkered flag there. The Williams, very, very lucky not to get lapped as well here today there. But in terms of the World Championship, 4 points separate the top 3 now in the World Championship, but our consistency so far has moved us to the top of the world standings there. No wins so far this season, but 3 podiums. The only man to have done so, so very, very happy with that there. Albon jumps up into P2. Like I said, just 3 points back. George Russell another point behind him there. And Ricciardo 4th place ahead of our teammate Lewis Hamilton there. Bottas, his first major result of the season there, jumps him up into 6th ahead of Sainz. And then Charles Leclerc jumps his teammate Max Verstappen in 8th and 9th place there. Lando still 10th. Perez gets his first points on the board, jumping Stroll and Pierre Gasly there. And you can see Danny Kvyat, both Renaults, both Alphas, both Haas and both Williams still yet to score at this stage of the season there. That means we are now on top, just 1 point. Tied even, I should say, with Red Bull there. 86 points apiece there. Mercedes now down to 3rd place, just 9 points back. So the gap in the top 3 still exactly where it was heading into this weekend there. Ferrari still 4th, a long, long way off the front though. McLaren, Racing Point, AlphaTauri, and you can see Renault and the other 3 teams still obviously with no points on the board there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, do make sure you get yourself subscribed. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow where we head to round 4 of the season. We head to China. Are we going to see a 4th different winner? Can we finally get the top step of the podium? Only time will tell. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.